factory in Delta State. But let's return to our coverage of the Senate sitting where they talked about allegations of budget pardon by Senator Ningi. I'm joined by Senate spokesperson Yemi Adaramodu, is live in our Abuja studio. Distinguished Senator, we had Senator Ningi denying that he talked about budget pardon. He even mentioned that about 80% of that translation was accurate. On what basis was it suspended?
Oh, thank you very much, my dear brother. And I want to say good evening to Nigerians. Yes, for a few days now, just precisely about 2 days ago, the media was very, very awash, and then the public was very set up in a panic mode about a very spurious allegation of budget padding raised by one of our senators, our colleagues, that is Senator Abdul Ningi from Bauchi Central. So, yes, he raised that allegation. Then we have even responded initially. Then we found out that this allegation was very, very grave. Because when we talk about budget padding, it's not only grievous, it's not only grave, it is very abnormal and quite illegal, very unconstitutional. And anybody that can be caught with budget padding in Nigeria should just be taken to the legislative and the legal Golgotha and get crucified. So because of that, we have to ensure and make sure that we get to the nitty-gritty and to dust the real bottom of it, how and where and when, and how is budget being padded. Yes, for 2 or even 1 day ago, we found out that our distinguished senator, our colleague, started recanting, started saying, talking about semantics, talking about lexicography, that yes, he said so, he did not say that, he meant this, he did not mean that. He said the president was maybe implementing a very different budget from the one that the National Assembly passed, that he did not say that one, and this is what he was saying. All this was just mere confusing staccato by somebody who wanted to confuse the whole nation and even confuse everybody globally. So today we met, we sat down in the committee of the whole of the Senate, so to probe into this allegation, to ask questions from our colleague, what has happened, what he has seen, and where he has seen that budget padding, and then that he should show us. Yes, he came, he armed himself with whatever evidence that he could get. But what is the evidence? The only evidence he had was that, yes, that the Senate passed 25 trillion, and then 20 trillion was now being the budget that the executive is now implementing. And so, because of that, there is that 3 trillion naira that is missing, not even missing, that it has been added illegally, unconstitutionally. But there was never a place where a 3 trillion naira was missing or added illegally. The only problem that the senator had, maybe he was not patient enough to look at the budget itself. Maybe out of mischief, he just went into the press to start peddling rumors and lies. And by the time we got into the nitty-gritty of it, he accepted that truly 80% of what he said in Hausa was fully transcribed. And in fact, when a student gets 80% marks in an exam, that is A1. But be that as it may, it is even 100% of what he said in Hausa that was transcribed into English language, and it was read to all senators present today. And when we got all these things, we now ask questions. He could not even give us direct answer. And then what we could deduce was that he just raised that kind of alarm,
I hear you clearly, distinguished. Sounds like you're saying the 10th Senate has agreed or can confirm that the figure was 25 and not 28 trillion as claimed by Senator Ningi. Let me get your opinion on this, because we had Senator Jaribe.
Yes, the figure was not there was never a time where 25 trillion naira even came up at all.
I hear you clearly. Senator Jaribe On the other side, distinguished mentioned that some so-called senior senators got 500 million while he got nothing. The Senate leader tried to explain that to funding for
there was no 500 million
projects.
Senator Jarigbe was only alluding to the fact that so many lies and falsehood were just being flying around, and that he heard of a 500 million naira somewhere, and that he didn't get 500 million naira. So there was no 500 million naira to any senator at all, either through appropriation or by enemies. Nothing like that. Nothing like that came to any senator. So, to our knowledge. And if it is not to our knowledge, it means that there's nowhere in the budget that 500 million naira can come to any senator. So that one, Senator Jarigbe has already cleared it.
The Senate leader distinguished. The Senate leader did say the funds disbursed was for constituency project. Two questions in one quickly. Are you saying that no senator, the Senate leader did acknowledge that the monies disbursed was for constituency projects? Are you saying that no single senator...
What the Senate leader said was this. What the Senate leader...
Allow me to learn, distinguished, so that we can be on the same page. I was going to say, are you saying that no single senator got as much as 500 million naira as constituency project? And what determines how much
that one? What the Senate leader said, you said what?
What determines how much
leader said was this
as constituency project?
What the Senate leader said was this. Look, hear me, listen to me. What the Senate leader said was this. The budget is a public document that anybody can lay his hands on it. That when you get there, look at it, flip through. It's a public document. It's not a secret thing. It's not hidden from anybody. It's not hidden from the public, especially even from the media, who is supposed to even educate the public about what is happening to the budget. That the budget is open, and that any amount, even if it's 1 naira, but there's no senator that received that 500 million naira. That even if it is 1 naira, that is given to senators for constituency projects, which is not even allocated to senators privately and individually. It is only a senator who will nominate maybe projects in his constituency. That this is what I want you to give us, maybe water, maybe electricity, maybe school, maybe hospital or clinics. That it is now the executive who will now take it up as a kind of constituency project, which money that will not go to any senator. And that he said, if it is done like that, and it has been budgeted for every constituency, for every senatorial district, that this one will be done, it will be done there. And that there's no senator that is given 500 million naira, either in constituency project or in whatever project in the budget. But be that as it may, to go on with even your other question, which I have not completed, the answer to is that 27.5 trillion was the original budget submitted by the executive. So when we started, a budget has processes. The first process is for the executive to do a draft and submit the draft to the National Assembly. When that draft came, we had to sit down with the MDAs, that is the ministries, the departments, and the agencies. So when we now meet with them, we will now ask questions from them to develop the budget. And then the components of the budget, if we have capital, we have personnel, and we have overhead. Now, when they now come and they defend it, and we found out that, for example, in the Ministry of Works, we found out that they have a lot to do with within the budget, and then the envelope budget that is given to them is not enough to carry out enough, either reconstruction, renovation, or maintenance of roads. Then we can now say, oh, what do you want us to do? If now they now ask that, can you assist us with more funds? And even when we approve that one for them, it will still go back to the executive. So it will still go back to the executive for them to agree that their revenue can even pick it up. So it is after that time that we will now come to terms with with the budget that will be presented. And then what I want us to know is that budget is not done by only Senate, and then the Senate President is not the owner of any budget. And there is the appropriation committee, which all these MDA's budget that are scrutinized by the various committees will be referred to.
Yes.
And once it is referred to that appropriation committee, it's not only appropriation committee in the Senate, appropriation committee in the House of Representatives. Then after that one, it will now come back for a joint session between the two legislative chambers. After that one, it will go back to the executive before it becomes a law. And then once it becomes a law, it becomes a document for everyone. And for our own brother, our own distinguished colleague, to single out the Senate on that budget. I even mentioning the name of the Senate President is very uncharitable. It's very spurious. It's very
Senate spokesperson,
very
Senator Yemi Adorable. That's our time. Sounds like a long process. I hope that the viewers get more clarity as regards this constituency project funding. Thank you